But this is something we have to change, that sincere, genuine desire in both our countries into real political will to get things done. But there are no painless fixes. The way to confront this crisis is through responsibility and transparency. And again, I say, there's plenty of work to do in the US, and nothing gets done without courage and hard work. While the US too falters, there have been some positive signs recently, but not without pain. Our president recently pushed through one of the most comprehensive financial reform packages since the Depression. And when President Obama signed the Wall Street Reform and Consumer Protection Act into law, he admitted that it was no easy task. Again, we have lots to do more, but at least both our countries are struggling to do it right. Now is the time to work seriously on solutions for Slovenia's long-term growth. The government of Slovenia is already addressing very important, difficult reforms with regard to pensions, energy, and healthcare. But it also needs to tackle other issues that prevent it from attracting significant investment, which are equally crucial. I think we all agree that Slovenia has serious economic issues to address, and it can use the legacy of this crisis. Crises, for all their pain, are really wonderful things in that they give you the impetus to finally do something which you wouldn't do if things were more comfortable. Actually, I shouldn't have ad-libbed that because I actually wrote it. Crises, like revolutions, are dangerous but can be very useful if they are carefully channeled. When crises occur, people finally wake up and take notice of problems they were just as happy to ignore. This is not Slovenian nature. This is human nature. We all act that way. Now, I'm proud to say that even before my arrival, our embassy and the AmCham have worked together on ways Slovenia could strengthen the investment climate and improve competitiveness. And we recently presented these recommendations to the Prime Minister. We look forward to working together with your government on these issues. And again, I'm not saying that Slovenia should adopt American-style laissez-faire capitalism. Slovenia is a European social democracy. It should not simply imitate the US model, which, given our historical, geographical, and size differences, is probably a less than perfect fit for Slovenia anyway. Besides, even though I'm new, even I realize that Slovenia is a successful market economy and needs no new model imposed upon it. However, there are comparable European social democracies, Switzerland, Denmark, and Finland, for example, that are more in line with Slovenia and are among the most competitive in the world. And that is our point. Slovenia could be far more competitive by implementing concrete changes to its own business environment. Now, I mentioned some obstacles to investment that were jointly identified by the AmCham and our embassy. These include, and I think they've already been mentioned by Tomasz, lack of transparency, especially in public procurement, an unnecessarily complex and time-consuming bureaucracy, and confusion over who has responsibility or jurisdiction amongst Slovenian government agencies. And there are serious impediments in the areas of taxation and certainly the labor market itself. It also appears that the government controls, directly or indirectly, far too great a share in far too many companies, even by European standards. Without attractive conditions and a simple approach to bring FDI here, Slovenia, I believe, will continue losing investment to countries that may not have its economic potential, that are more attractive excuse me, to 21st century investors. Allow me to give you a bit more detail on our joint recommendations. Foreign investors should be welcomed by a one-stop shop to help cut through red tape, walking them through the necessary steps and paperwork. There are many successful models in the region, including in Slovenia's largest trading partner, Germany. A second area slowing foreign investment and the country's long-term competitiveness is a lack of privatization, which I mentioned. Slovenia's state share of GDP is high, even in comparison with others in the EU. Frankly, the private sector, thank you very much, can always do better, and the customer benefits. The Slovenian government should identify which economic sectors truly belong in state hands and then divest itself of the remainder. A third area, taxation, is critical for companies when deciding where to invest. It affects their bottom line both directly and indirectly. By simplifying existing taxation, eliminating impractical regulations, and decreasing the overall tax burden in areas where Slovenia is less competitive, your government can both encourage foreign investment and support domestic entrepreneurship. Our fourth area where we have suggested reform, and I think perhaps this is the most important, is the labor market. Slovenia's high social contributions and labor rigidity hurt its ability to compete. The government could soften this by revising the current legal framework, which prevents companies from responding in a timely manner and impedes employee transfers between jobs and how quickly they can be hired and fired. I've run into this in the embassy. I've wanted to fire Brad now for a week. The government of Slovenia won't let me. That's terrible. I'm sorry. Let me stop here to also emphasize that we support the fair treatment of workers, even in the embassy. I have served in too many places where workers have few genuine rights and benefits to think that businesses are always benign and fair. We know that's not true. But conversely, is it fair when rigid labor laws discourage foreign investors from locating operations here and creating new jobs? A balance between business rights and labor rights needs to be addressed. Finally, we often hear from US firms that would like to invest here that they have serious concerns over the lack of transparency in public procurement. Many have felt shut out of the bidding process due to pre-existing ties between buyers and bidders, as well as sometimes opaque outcomes that appear to not always be based on the best product or lowest price. Others have noted tenders based on subjective selective criteria unrelated to the company's ability to provide the best product or services. Taken together, these factors discourage investment and trade between our countries at the exact time when they could benefit our common economic recovery. Without a fair and level trade playing field, the real losers are the people, consumers, and workers. Consumers who are denied the best products and services at the lowest prices, and workers who are denied better jobs. Perhaps most importantly, societal attitudes toward foreign direct investment need to change. FDI is not something to fear, though Slovenians are not alone in sometimes being suspicious of investment from abroad. I recall, I'm too old, but I recall the outcry many years ago in the United States when the Japanese bought Rockefeller Center in New York City, which lasted until the Americans figured out that Rockefeller Center wasn't going anywhere. That only took Americans a few years to figure out. It was very impressive by American standards. In addition to working together to strengthen the business climate, we want to leverage cooperation already forming between our economies and encourage new opportunities for strategic US-Slovenian commercial partnerships benefiting both sides. We see areas ripe for increased bilateral trade and investment. For example, green and traditional energy. On green energy, there has already been some movement. The Prime Minister led a delegation of 20 innovative green tech Slovenian companies to New York to attend an Investing in Green conference in September. 10 of the firms then continue to Dayton, Ohio, for a day of networking and matchmaking with firms there. We have heard positive responses from delegation members and their US partners who are following up with the Slovenian consulate in Ohio on resulting opportunities. Another area for growth is the IT sector. Many of you right here are proof of the Slovenia's wealth of intellectual, scientific, and technical potential and the well-educated population. Yet some of that potential is being lost because it is not being commercialized. No country has better entrepreneurial know-how than the US. We know how to turn good ideas into business solutions. It requires active encouragement of inventors to become innovative entrepreneurs. It could begin with a university teaching MBAs how to partner with IT professionals, engineers, and scientists to encourage commercial invention applications. Or it might be a public-private sector partnership incubator to help startup firm positions themselves in the market and attract investors. There are already people here who understand this well. One private Slovene company recently took a group of startup local IT firms to Silicon Valley, exploring potential partnerships and investments in the technology sector. And I think this is just the start. I understand from speaking with the Prime Minister yesterday that he would like to lead a separate trade delegation to Silicon Valley early next year. These trips represent exciting opportunities to start building bilateral trade and investment. In closing, especially since my voice is disappearing, in cooperation with the government of Slovenia, the American Chamber of Commerce, and the larger business community, let's take a fresh look at what we can do to strengthen economic ties. I've chosen this goal, as I said, as one of my top priorities, in fact, the top priority, because I believe the benefits are substantial for all of us. We share a common interest in a Slovenia that remains a strong, vibrant partner and ally. Not only will this create new opportunity for trade, investment, and partnership, it will also enhance the stability and security of a region that is counting on a strong, economically solid Slovenia. Getting there will not be easy, but we owe it to ourselves, and even more so to our citizens, to succeed. Thank you. Hope that wasn't too long.